Hi guys, this is Danny again. First of all, I would like to thank all of you for supporting me by subscribing to my YouTube channel and also by liking my posts and my page on the Facebook. Now, all of this, you keep me going. Thank you. I really appreciate it, and I will promise you that I will create more videos and information for all of you guys. Thank you. Okay, now today I'm going to cover one topic which is frequently asked, which is about the loan. How to successfully secure a loan. Now, I'm going to share with you one way that we can make sure we can always get the loan approved. Now, it really depends on your profile, because by the end of the day, the bank is going to assess based on your commitment and other expenses as well. So it really depends. But one thing we always, all of us investors, but one thing that we always do is that we make sure that we do this calculation before we do any submission or before we actually look for property. Now, stay on with this video. I'm going to teach you the basic way of how we make sure that when we submit our application to the bank, it will at least give us 80% of chances to approve, right? So stay on. See you. Now, there's a way to calculate whether or not how you can afford a loan. Is that how we do it? We have a calculation to do it every single time before we actually apply for a loan. So I'm going to show you how we calculate beforehand prior to the submission of loan. So this is calculating your loan affordability. Now, on average, Joe, there will be a monthly commitment expenses. Now we are talking about something like PCB. PCB basically is the potongan cukai bulanan. This is actually the tax, okay, the income tax. And then we'll have the EPF, which is the KWSP. This is something that you cannot avoid. You have to pay. Everybody is paying for it. So this is the two things that you cannot avoid. Yeah, another thing is that the PCB is that if you're going to buy any property or invest in a property, try not to avoid this, because the bank is actually look into how much tax you're paying for it. If for example you're buying any property but without the properly income tax documented, it's likelihood that your loan would not be approved. So if you're going to buy or invest into any property, try not to avoid the PCB. Okay, other things like food, car, and other expenses. These are the things that's that the bank is actually looking into before they're approving your loan. So now it comes to the formula, how we calculate the affordability or the maximum amount that we can borrow. So the formula is like this: the gross income, you times the tax, this includes the EPF as well, and then you times the DSR, the debt service ratio. This is depending on the bank. Some banks are going for maybe 20%, some going to 25%, some going for 30%. So we're going to take the worst case scenario, very conservative. We take the highest possible, and then you minus your commitment, and commitments like cars, insurance, and any kind of things like that. So and then you times 200. So tax wise, including the EPF and the PCB, we allocate 20% for it from your gross income, and then for DSR we try to take highest possible to be conservative. So we put 30% out of your gross income, which will be deducted, and then we will deduct your commitment. For example, if you have any existing property, or if you have car or insurance, we will deduct from there, and then we times 200. 200 is actually a mortgage constant, where it actually comes from on average we're talking about 4.45% or 4.5 interest rate. So they give us the mortgage constant of 200%. Why is 200? I don't know. I'm not a mathematician, so I don't know. So this is the formula that we use to calculate for the affordability to get a loan. Now we're going to use some examples to illustrate how we calculate the affordability of the loan. So okay, Ali is a supervisor at a manufacturing plant having monthly salary of 3,500 per month. First home buyer, no house, no nothing, has one motorbike only, no other loan. So Ali, gross income 3,500, PCB and EPF, after minus the 20%, he left 2008. And then if we minus all the DSR, the makan thing, everything, it will comes up to balance of 1,960. And then because he has no property, he only got his motorbike and he's paying for 260 ringgit per month. And then he has insurance for 150 ringgit. And then that gives us Ali disposable income, which is net. Net means you deduct all the tax, the EPF and everything. So he left him with 1,500. Okay, so if we going to calculate how much he can actually afford the loan, is you use the disposable income 1,500, 50, and then you times by the factor, the mortgage factor, and become the maximum value that he can borrow from the bank, depending on which bank, is 310k. Okay, now we're going to move on to the second example. So this is Sandy. Sandy is the manager in a restaurant with monthly salary of 5,500 per month. Sandy is better than Ali's a little bit. She has a house already and a car. And then Sandy gross income is 5,500 and the PCB and EPF 20%, so left her with 4,004. And then we're going to deduct their DSR from the bank for the other expenses, so left Sandy with 3,080 ringgit. And she has a house, okay, and now she paying for the installment of 1,160 ringgit. And then for her car is 550. So insurance to 2,050, and Sandy disposable income, which is net, is 1,120 ringgit. And if we use this disposal income and we times with the mortgage factor, that give us the maximum value loan amount that she can borrow safely. Means if nothing goes wrong, the maximum amount she can borrow from the bank is 224 ringgit. Okay, 1,000 ringgit. Okay, now we move on to example number 3. Example number 3 is Wei Liang. Wei Liang is a CFO for MNC company with monthly salary of 12,700 per month. Wei Liang is living on his condo and he has a car for work. Now his set income is 12,700, and after minus the PCB and EPF left him with around 10k. DSR 30%, left in 7,000 plus. He has a house. No, it's not a house. He has a condo. This is copied from the previous one. He has a condo for 2002 installment, and then he has a car, 1,001, 1,003, and then insurance 500 plus. And Wei Liang disposable income is 2,997. If we times the mortgage factor, then we will get him the maximum amount for his next loan is 595,400. So this is the indication how we use before we do any submission. This is the calculation we always do before getting the loan, because we need to know how much we can borrow. And then why when to use this formula. When to use this formula is when we doing the budgeting for our investment property, because when it comes to property investment we do a lot of research, and one of the criteria when it comes to property investment is to do the budgeting, how much we can afford to buy the property, and therefore we don't want to research on the property that we cannot afford. For example, like Wei Liang, his maximum loan amount is 595,000 ringgit, whereas for Sandy, even though her income is much more than Ali, but then again Ali has the more gearing for him, because he can actually borrow up to 300k and above. So in this case, as for Ali, he should not be researching on a property that's beyond his mean. For example, he shouldn't be looking at a property that's maybe it's a condo in KL or anywhere that's minimum in that location 500k. So he should be looking at somewhere in Shah Alam area. Maybe you can still get a condo, a decent condo, or maybe an apartment around 300k sub-sale maybe. So this is why the affordability, this calculation is very important, because it narrow down our research, and we don't want when we found a very good property, but by the end of the day we cannot get a loan, and even if we keep on submitting to the bank, it's no point, because we will get rejection anyway. So this is the how we do it in order to make sure to reduce the chances of our loan being rejected. Useful, and make sure when you're going to buy any property, you calculate based on your income, and then disposable. You need to look into how much disposable income that you have. From there, you work out on your budget to buy property, because there's no point for you to look into to spend your time to research for a property. Then by the end of the day, when you found the property and then your income cannot support it, so you don't do that. We always look for the property within our mean. So hope you guys get something from this video. So I'll see you guys again.